Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Thanks for checking in. The future is here. I mean, it is here right now. This is a concept that has never been explored before, ever. And it's not like I'm just making this up on the spot to try to make this sound more interesting, because that's obviously not the case. Pizza Hut did it. Pizza Hut said, you know what? We're just going to do it. We're going to be brazen. Obviously, I mean, they have the reputation as being a bunch of risk takers. So we're going to throw caution to the wind. We're just going to go for it, right? To revisit the great trend that existed back in 2011 or 2012 or so. YOLO, as they say. Because they did it. Pizza Hut has released their new Pizza Hut Melts. That's right. What they decided to do, they said, yeah, we've got thin and crispy crust pizza, right? Yeah, you could just get it as a normal pizza. Forget that. There's nothing cool about eating just pizza regularly anymore. I mean, this is 2022. See, I shook my hands there for emphasis. So instead, we're going to take 2 slices of thin and crispy crust. We're going to load it with toppings. Then we're going to fold it over. And they created this concept known as a melt. So you have, imagine my hands are the slices of the crust. And the toppings go on top of my hands. And then they fold them over like that. And thus, the Pizza Hut Melt was born. It comes with some dipping sauce. You could get it in 4 flavors at the price of $8.40 per melt. All right, now I know I kind of get a little bit sarcastic or whatever in the introductions. I try to have fun with this stuff. But here's what it is. It's exactly as I described. You've got the 2 slices of the dough. You load up the toppings on them, then they fold them over. And as you'll see in a moment when I show you, thus you have that outer shell of the dough. Inside is cheese and toppings. And then it comes with sauce on the side that you can dip said melt in. So if you remember Pizza Hut a couple years back, they had their Pizzone. This is kind of similar to that. It's not 100% the same thing, but it is pretty similar. Now, the 4 flavors that it comes in, you could get pepperoni lovers, which obviously has pepperoni and cheese in it. Comes with marinara sauce for dipping. You can get a buffalo chicken melt, which obviously has chicken with some buffalo sauce on it. You've got meat lovers, which has, your standard variety of meats. You've got some pepperoni, some sausage in there, I think some meatball as well. And then you can get the chicken, bacon, parm Pizza Hut melt as well. I went with the pepperoni lovers one. That seems to be the one they're promoting the most. That's the one that caught my interest anyway. And that one again comes with pepperoni, some cheese, and some marinara sauce for dipping on it, or I should say to the side of it. No, actually on it. It has a little bit of a sprinkling of some of the little Pizza Hut seasoning, as they call it. Again, price for this, $8.40. So here's the box, going with some distinct branding, which is actually nice to see. Melt right there. What does it say? Go solo with our new Pizza Hut Melt, cheesy, crispy, loaded. And they do emphasize the crispy nature of the outer shell. Anything noteworthy on the side? Eat melts, earn free stuff, easy as that. Well, Pizza Hut said so, so that is the case. Because no one out-pizzas the Hut. And here we go. So these are the melts. I'm going to take one of them out, obviously, and I'll hold it up to the camera so you can get a better view thereof. Here's the sauce that I'll be dipping it in. Grab this one. All right, so here's what it looks like. See, that's the outer shell right there. And see, it comes with a little seasoning on it. So it's like a crispy crust. You can see it's not very doughy. So it's thin and crispy. Then it's loaded with the toppings, and then it's folded over. And inside there, you could see the cheese and pepperoni. That's what this one is, cheese and pepperoni. With the sauce, there's no sauce in this. The sauce is there on the side for dipping. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try it out. First, what I shall do is I'll take a few bites without any sauce just to see how it is on its own. Then I'll crack open this sauce and, of course, try it out with that. And then I'll give you my assessment. So, the Pizza Hut Melts, the Pepperoni Lovers edition, going in. Now I'll try it out with the sauce. Before I get into the assessment, I just always want to mention, at least every now and then, so just you know it exists. In addition to this channel of mine, I also do a podcast and I do a radio show too. The radio show I do 3 times a week, 2 broadcasts of which are for listeners in North America, and one I do for listeners over in Europe. Each show is an hour in length. I'll talk about whatever's on my mind. Sometimes I'll talk about current events, things going on in the world. Sometimes I'll discuss various random topics, and then I'll try to balance it out with some listener music requests, likewise. But the show mainly goes out on the shortwave radio, which gets out to a decent audience on that. But obviously I know not everyone watching this, not by a long shot, has a shortwave radio, or let alone any sort of radio. So if you do want to listen to my radio show, or at least check it out, or see what it's all about, one way to access it on demand, anytime you want, listen as much as you want, is at my Patreon page, patreon.com/TheReportOfTheWeek. You could find out more information about that in the pinned comment, or even in the description. But it's a way that, again, you could access it all on demand. It supports what I do. It keeps everything going. And it's just there for you if you're interested. So just wanted to get the word out about that. All right. With that out of the way, I'll say this, actually. This isn't bad. I know that some people have said in regards to my reviews, oh, you're very negative lately, you hate everything, etc. And I know that's not the case because, I mean, I sit here and I do the reviews myself. All that I could say is that in the world of fast food these days, there are a lot of hits and misses. There are many items out there that just, these places miss the mark completely on. And I just try to honestly, realistically describe what it is that I get, and I figure if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And that's all that there is to it. Whether I get a whole, spate of good reviews in a row or bad review, whatever it is, I try to describe what it is that I consume to the best of my abilities. And in this case, this is actually better than I thought it would be. I'll tell you what my initial concern was. I wasn't concerned at all about the exterior shell or any of that. I thought, all right, structurally speaking, this looks fine. It doesn't look like it's going to fall apart or any of that. It looks like it'll be pretty easy to eat. It doesn't look like it'll be as messy as I thought it would be. My initial concern was that the consistency-wise, the inside would wind up being, because this sometimes happens, when you have something that's like a melt or it's folded over, sometimes it just doesn't cook right, or at least as well as you'd expect it to, and then the inside becomes all gross and slimy, and it's kind of disgusting. But in this case, I am pleased to report that that was not an issue at all. Everything cooked, as far as I'm concerned, very evenly, and that's great. Now, when you factor in that there aren't a ton of ingredients in this, it's not like there are a ton of twists and turns here, and really, this tastes, once you think of it this way, then it makes sense. It really just tastes like their pizza. So it's not like this has a distinct flavor of its own. This is really no different than if you had a slice of their thin and crispy pizza, and then, you folded it over and just ate it that way. It's really no different from that at all. And when you think of it this way, then it makes sense. All right, you think, well, the pizza has the cheese, the base, the topping, if you wish to have one, in this case the pepperoni, and of course the marinara sauce. Well, what does this have? Has the base, which is the exact same dough that they would use for the thin and crispy crust pizza, same cheese they would use on that, same toppings they would use on that, and then the marinara sauce, which accompanies it nicely. So it's really no different than having a slice of their thin and crispy crust pizza, which I think for some folks you might be breathing a sigh of relief because you think, all right, if I like Pizza Hut's pizza, especially the thin crust, if I like that, this is no different from it. So then you would like this by extension. If you hate their pizza and you're thinking, well, maybe this is going to be like this is going to redeem itself and this is going to have qualities that their pizza doesn't have and it's going to bring it up to the next level, then you might be a bit disappointed. But as far as I'm concerned, everything tastes good here. All right, the cheese is more flavorful than I thought it would be, but what really makes this, not only you can taste the freshness of the toppings, but what really ties it all together is actually that little bit of the garlic seasoning that's on the top of it. Just the notes of that really tie everything together, and it's really just, there's a lot of flavor to it, it adds a lot, it contributes a lot, and then likewise, the marinara sauce always works nicely with anything of theirs that's pizza related, or it works really, really well with their cheese and their base. I always like that sweet note that the marinara sauce has as well. So this is one of those instances where everything ties together, everything works, quality-wise it's good, and on another note, it's structurally sound. It has that nice crispy note, once again in the shell, that isn't overwhelming, but it provides texturally some nice structure to it all, and that crunchiness of it, like I said, it just gives it some structure. It's not overwhelming. It's not one of those things that, you try to bite into it and it's like you're breaking your teeth or something like that. And it just tastes good. It doesn't seem overly dry either. I'm sure when you heard me eating it, you could obviously hear it crunching away and you might think, is that thing like, is it bone dry or something? but it really isn't. There's sufficient moisture, not only in the cheese, but likewise in the sauce, so that isn't an issue at all. So, it tastes good, flavorful. There's actually a little bit of a decent spicy note in the pepperoni as well. Nothing overwhelming. It's just something that's there, just gives it a little extra flavor. And as I mentioned, the marinara sauce is a key component. Definitely utilize it. The sweetness in it is excellent, and those garlicky notes on the seasoning as well. It's just a really nice touch. So it's better than I thought it would be. It's easy to eat. It wasn't a mess, so I didn't notice stuff, dripping out of it or any of that. Easy to eat. Price-wise, the only thing that I could really say in terms of that is that it is a little more expensive than I would have hoped for. $8.40 for this. So again, yeah, it is a bit overpriced in my opinion, but pretty much everything is at this point, so there's only so much you could say about that. But it's pretty good. I really haven't any major criticisms about this at all. It's enjoyable. I'm a fan of it. So Pizza Hut, I think they did a good job. If this is something that seems interesting to you, get it while the getting's good. But I'm happy with it. I think Pizza Hut did a good job here. I found this to be enjoyable. And again, it may not be overwhelmingly exceptional in terms of its inventiveness, but at the very least, it's basic, but it's good for what it is. Therefore, out of 10, what am I going to be rating the Pepperoni Lovers Pizza Hut Melt? Out of 10, honestly, I haven't anything bad to really say about this. Sure, it's Pizza Hut, sure, it's fast food, takeout, pizza type item, but I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. They did a good job here, and I'm happy with it. That's all that I have for you, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week. Thanks for watching.